Frankly, ever since I can remember, this has been the dream instilled in me. Study hard, get into a global university, build a career overseas, and success would follow. Sure enough, when I told my friends and family the news, they said, "Canada, you're set for life." Their assumption that a country with cleaner air, safer streets, a stronger education, and higher pay was all they needed to believe that anywhere but home was the promised land. So, with a bit of courage, I took the leap of faith, packed my bags, left home, and came to Toronto chasing what I thought, and more importantly, had been told was a better life. Although it was years ago, I still remember my first month of university like it was yesterday. I met other students born and raised from all corners of the world. And when getting to know one another, we all asked a common question. What brought you here? The answer was always the same: a better life. However, fast forward today, those same friends who once called Canada their to-be forever home are now choosing to go back to the places they originally came from. Not because they failed, but because they see more to gain elsewhere. You might be thinking, my friends are insane. Believe me, I was the first person to call them out for it, having gone through the same process of gathering every document, preparing every application, and making a huge financial investment. It felt like such a waste for them to pack up and leave so soon. But when I looked closer, I realized they weren't alone. Canada, the same country that welcomed record numbers of immigrants, is now seeing record numbers leave. According to Statistics Canada, over 100,000 people left in 2024, the highest number in the past 50 years. And the funny thing is, it's not slowing down. It made me wonder, why is this happening? I was looking for answers left and right, trying to think of some sort of explanation to this, until I remembered my semester abroad in London. When I was at King's College, I took an applied economics course and came across a theory that gave words to what I was seeing. It's called the Roy model. While the theory involves some complicated math that may leave some with nightmares, it argues that high-skilled individuals are better off in unequal countries, while low-skilled individuals are better off in equal countries. From this, two questions may have popped into your head. One, what does it mean for a country to be equal? And two, how do we define skilled individuals? To answer, we can define equality by how wealth is distributed. Economists often use a metric called the Gini coefficient. It measures how income is spread across a population, from poorest to richest, and condenses it into a single number between 0 and 1. The higher the number, the more unequal society is. On the other hand, we can define skilled individuals by the value they create in society. In the Roy model, skill means productivity. The more productive an individual is, the more they're rewarded. Let's paint a scenario to understand this idea better. Imagine two people, Isabel and Antonio. Isabel works as an engineer while Antonio works as a sales clerk. They currently live in country A with a Gini coefficient of 0.3, and they're considering moving to one of two places. Country B, a more equal one with a Gini coefficient of 0.2, or country C, a more unequal one with a Gini coefficient of 0.4. Now, if they both move to country B, Antonio benefits, as the floor is much higher. A better minimum wage, easier access to healthcare, and reliable public transport. Life feels safer because of the benefits he never had. But for Isabel, that same equality can feel limiting. Her potential income and growth are capped, as the system is designed to compress the distance between the top and the bottom. Now, picture them moving to country C instead. Antonio will struggle more due to the larger inequality. But Isabel's upside expands. Her talent can be rewarded exponentially. So, for someone like Isabel, inequality actually creates opportunity. And that's the paradox. The same system that protects one individual can restrict another. You might be wondering, why am I standing here today? Considering that the Philippines is a more unequal country than Canada, and I'd like to believe I'm a skilled individual, why have I chosen to stay? Am I a hypocrite for failing to practice what I preach? Theoretically, I should be better off back home. In fact, even in today's tough job market, I was offered roles at some of the biggest companies in the Philippines, with faster career progression, greater social standing, and closer proximity to influence. 9 out of 10 of my peers would tell me that it's a no-brainer decision. I'd be better off to hop on a plane, fly back to Manila, and not look back. But this kind of better is limited. It measures income, opportunity, and upside. But it doesn't really measure what I was willing to trade off. During my internship last year, my colleagues back in Manila kept wondering, what was keeping me stuck between the two cities? It even got to a point that they were convinced that maybe the only possible reason was because someone special was waiting for me here. Well, that would have made the story much more interesting. Fortunately, the truth was far from it. You see, for the longest time, the dream was always to make a successful career abroad. But when I think of what a better life means for me now, it goes beyond just income and opportunity. It includes the people who matter most. Although I don't say it as much, I am actually a very proud older brother. Growing up, my sister was the one person with whom I could be myself with. Although, as you can see, we fight and argue a lot, I know that no matter what happens, we will always have each other's backs. Currently, she's completing her bachelor's degree at U of T and is set to graduate in the next 2 years. Initially, like any parent, my mother and father were terrified to let her study abroad as she's the youngest in her family. However, knowing that she'd be in the same city as me made that decision easier. To ease their minds further, I made them a promise. I will only consider leaving after she graduates. And for someone who takes promises seriously, this is one of many I do not intend to break. For others, family might not be your first priority, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. Most people prioritize growing their wealth. Others prioritize a sense of safety. Some prioritize their cultural belonging. A few value sustaining their relationships. Or for you, it may simply be to breathe fresher air and have the sun shining on your face. The point being is that we all value things differently. And that's what shapes who we are, and more importantly, who we choose to become. But Salva, do we really have to think and prioritize what matters most to us? Can't we have everything all at once? In an ideal world, we can have it all. But the world we live in isn't that generous. Every meaningful decision comes with trade-offs we will have to live with. The silver lining is that if we're lucky enough, we get to choose the sacrifices we make. Now, Before everyone starts questioning every life decision they've ever made, this isn't about criticizing your decision-making skills. It's simply a reality check. Did the idea that migration will solve every problem or guarantee a better life is one of the biggest lies told today. The reality of the person next to you is far different from your own, and no single country delivers the same results. So, debating whether the grass is truly greener is a waste of our time, as the answer will always depend on who we're asking and what their definition of better is. Unfortunately, too often do we let others, or what simply looks good on paper, define the word better for us. An old friend always reminded me that life isn't black and white. And I think it's clear that the pursuit of a better one isn't either. Hence, I've come to realize that maybe my university friends weren't as crazy after all. For some of them, choosing to leave someday would not be a sign that Canada didn't work out. It will simply be to find the right fit for their story, their own version of better. Remember, just because someone holds a golden ticket doesn't mean it will lead you to the same destination. So instead, let's ask ourselves where our skills, our values, our priorities, and most importantly, our happiness intersect. Thank you.